With the 7th pick in the 2009 NBA Draft, the Golden State Warriors select Stephen Curry from Davidson College.
Over the years, Steph Curry's been doubted and questioned for his size, skill, and a host of other reasons. Growing up, he was a skinny kid who wasn't very tall, especially for a basketball player. Not tall enough, they said. Not strong enough, they said. Won't be able to guard bigger, stronger players at the next level, they said. When it came to the doubters, there were many. Individual coaching sessions have helped develop Steph as a player, and he still does them during the NBA offseason. Through continuous training and maintaining a steady work ethic, he always felt like there's more he could achieve. That's why each and every day he does something to try and get better, to challenge himself, to learn more about the game, to make his teammates better. This way of thinking isn't just reserved for Stephen Curry, the professional basketball player, either. He believes that the persistence and time that he put into his craft can lead anyone to success. Today's video will be about NBA players who doubted Steph Curry. Stephen Curry is widely regarded as the greatest shooter in the history of the NBA. However, there was a time when this was a genuine debate. In fact, one of the greatest shooters to ever play, Larry Bird, was of the opinion that Steph wasn't the best, but did give him his flowers. In fact, he suggested a few names that weren't the most popular. The 3-time MVP goes on to say,
No, I don't know about that. Chris Mullin was pretty good. How about Mark Price? Deep shooter, Curry's about one of the best. Reggie hit as many big shots as, if you go back and look over the years, as anyone.
In fact, in typical Larry legend fashion, he goes on to add his name into the mix as well. While Reggie Miller isn't surprising, Price and Mullin are names that don't come up too often. If Bird holds them to such a high degree, it must mean something. One thing to keep in mind is that this interview was way back in 2015, so you can see his point of view. We're sure if the same question was asked today, there would be only one answer. Joining Larry on this take, former Detroit Pistons star and 4-time NBA champ John Sally also does not believe that Steph is the GOAT shooter. In an appearance on the Pardon My Take podcast with Dan Katz and Eric Sollenberger, Sally discussed the greatness of Isaiah Thomas and how this former teammate has been severely underrated. He even compared Thomas's career to Steph's. Katz and Sollenberger reacted to Sally's comparison of Isaiah to Steph by saying that the latter is undoubtedly the greatest shooter ever. However, Sally pointed out that there are other great shooters in NBA history, and Curry has the advantage of taking more shots behind the arc.
Not really, but his dad was a hell of a shooter. Reggie Miller was a hell of a shooter. Dale Ellis was a hell of a shooter.
Larry Bird was a hell of a shooter.
And how many more shots he's taken?
Curry is nowhere near retirement, and there's a possibility that he could reach 4,000 threes or even 5,000 before his career is over. The 2-time MVP takes 3-point shots at a higher rate, but he also makes 42.8% of them. Saying Steph Curry is not the greatest shooter of all time is not the first time John Sally has made some outrageous comments about the Warriors superstar. In an interview last year, Sally put Curry at the same level as John Wall. He stated,
"It's never what you're worth.
Right.
It's what you negotiate."
Would you put...
John Wall is unbelievable.
Okay.
But the problem is he was buried in Washington, so we didn't get to see him. Right. So when you got really good guys on really bad teams, you don't get to see.
Yeah.
You don't get to see their greatness because they're not winning. They work even harder because they're trying to win each game, as opposed to Steph Curry could say, "Hey, my ankle's hurting today. I just need a 5-minute break." When you're on a bad team, you don't get a 5-minute break. You don't have a guy like Klay Thompson on this side or Livingston to step in on this side.
John Sally is not afraid to make outrageous statements, but saying Steph is not the greatest shooter ever and on the same level as John Wall are just plain stupid. Curry changed the game of basketball through his shooting ability, while Wall missed the entire season despite not being injured. When it comes to basketball takes, there is a lot of room for argument, but when discussing one of the best players in the world right now, Shaquille O'Neal and Kenny the Jet Smith find no disagreements. On the Big Podcast, Shaq and his friend/colleague Kenny revealed who they believe is the best player in the game right now. And you might not be shocked to learn that they picked Warriors star Stephen Curry. But it wasn't always like that. Shaq used to hate Curry.
I used to hate on him early on in his career, but he ain't gonna make that. But he kept proving me wrong. That's why he's my best player. I like being proved wrong. So my message to these young cats, when I say something, prove wrong.
Obviously, Steph is one of the game's biggest stars. And for good reason. As an 8-time All-Star, 2-time MVP, 2-time scoring champion, and 4-time title winner. There isn't anything that Curry hasn't done in the NBA. So it's only right that he gets the recognition he deserves by some of the game's all-time greats. And we can certainly say he's a Hall of Famer, right? Wrong. Michael Jordan doesn't think so. While speaking to Craig Melvin on Today, Jordan was asked if he would stick with the list of players he said would be unbeatable in a pickup game in 2013. Or would his list change up a bit due to the emergence of new stars in the game today? The controversy of Jordan's words does not lie in his inability to change his list. The controversy is in his response to the follow-up question.
So Steph Curry shouldn't be offended when he watches this. I hope not. He's still a great player. Not a Hall of Famer yet, though. He's not.
If Curry were to retire today, he would not only be a Hall of Famer, but he would be a first-ballot Hall of Famer. There are so many reasons why Curry is currently a Hall of Famer. His individual numbers, he is a winner, and he has the it factor. Like Jordan, Curry has his fingerprints on the history of the game of basketball. His three-point shooting ability has changed the philosophy of the way the game should be played. Curry, admittedly aided by the defensive rules of today's NBA, has revolutionized the game of basketball by inspiring basketball teams, from high school to the NBA, to regularly employ the three-point shot. Analysts have referred to him as the Michael Jordan of the three-point era, stating that he did for the three-point shot what Jordan did for the dunk. He also carried the weight of doubters' words all throughout his way to winning a 4th NBA title. On his way to winning his first Finals MVP after the Warriors beat the Celtics, called out some talking heads that said he would win 0 championships in the next 4 years. During NBA Today, Perkins said that he expected absolutely nothing from Curry in Game 6.
I don't even expect this game to even be close. Boston is going to win this game in great fashion because, listen, you think you were mad when Kyrie Irving stumped on Lucky. Just imagine if he's getting drowned in champagne, okay? That is something you do not want. Boston is winning. Steph Curry has no effect. I don't expect nothing out of Steph.
After the Warriors beat the Celtics in 6 games to win their 4th title in 8 years, with Curry dropping 34 points, 7 rebounds, and 7 assists en route to winning NBA Finals MVP, Perkins and Foxworth addressed Curry's call-out. 1, I appreciate them watching. But listen, it's okay. You have to accept it. Players use this as motivation. Curry's resume is longer than the Chick-fil-A line. Pound for pound, he's the most conditioned athlete in the NBA right now. He finished in great fashion last night. As Steve Kerr rightfully proclaimed, none of this is possible without Steph Curry's greatness, which is why he never doubted they could regain this form. Unfortunately for some, their doubts were not only present, but broadcasted on national television. As the self-proclaimed petty king, Steph didn't let them forget about it. Don't forget to like the video and subscribe to our channel. Thanks for watching.